My name is Sarai Davis. I'm the founder of Selfie Wellness as well as Selfie Products. I started this business in 2019 as a V-Steam studio, and then we grew into many products, and we was featured in media such as Black Enterprise, Vogue, and so many other great things. And today I want to share my biggest mistake because it will save you thousands of dollars. And when I say thousands, I mean about six figures of thousands of dollars of the mistakes I made in the past. So let's jump right in. The first mistake I made was focusing over on vanity versus product. Okay, what's the point of having a beautiful building if you don't have any inventory? And I poured so much money in that building, in my first location, all the way down to hardwood floors. And let me tell you something, this don't have nothing to do with this video, but let me just say it now. Hardwood floors is a big no-no in a commercial building, especially a building you do not own. First of all, the cost is more, and then when you're talking about mopping your floors every day and cleaning up, that your floor will eventually puckle. You need something like a laminate floor or a vinyl flooring versus a hardwood floor. So that was the biggest mistake. I had this beautiful building and I did not have any inventory, and I did get customers quicker. I ain't gonna say customers, I received a customer quicker than I thought after opening up my doors, and I didn't have no products. And the first thing she said was, I want to buy something, I don't have anything. And I had a previous business, which it was a Christian apparel company, so I had some old sweatshirts, old t-shirts, and a lot of jewelry that I bought to the shop, and I just sold it. And soon as I put those items in, it sold out quickly. Okay, so first thing first is make sure you have a plan about the inventory over the beauty. Yes, you want a nice aesthetic pleasing place, but you could beautify your building as you go. Just focus on the most key things. I always say, if you have customers that's going to be using your restroom, that's the number one thing. You always want a clean restroom. I am big on that, especially when it comes down to women coming in buildings. You want to make sure your restroom is right. You want to make sure you have a retail space, that way you able to make money outside of providing services. So yes, do not invest in the building over inventory. Second thing I would say is your overhead is not just your lease. And you may say, girl, I know that. No, it's not just your light bill, it's not just your internet. It's so many costs to it. So especially when you have a storefront versus like an office or a what is called suite, those things, like if something break inside of it, if a water line break, usually the landlord would take care of those things because, you know, it's a shared space. But when you have a storefront, everything under that roof is under you. I'm talking about the toilet being stopped up and you can't figure out why. You know, chances are that may be you. I'm talking about electrical issues and the wiring may be off, and yes, it may be you. And that's something that happened to me. Soon as I moved in my building, I later discovered that the whole right side of my building did not have any power in the wall. So I had to rewire a whole building because the doctor office that was in there before me for 30 years, they didn't do nothing. They didn't update nothing. I mean, it was just a lot of things that was coming up because they were there 30 years and they did not invest in the beautifying of the building, on top of having AC issues. Okay, so I had like an old AC, and I remember the guy coming on was like, look, they don't even carry this type of Freon no more. We have to go to like a specialty type of company, and it's very limited. You know, this unit needs to be changed out. Okay, so please keep in mind, when it comes down to your overhead costs, you want to think about your insurance. Your insurance is going to require, especially if you redid your building, if you upgraded a building, you want to make sure you have insurance on that as well, because God forbid if something happened, a flood, a fire, you want to make sure you able to get money to go into another building or to rebuild that building. Also, your content needs to be insured. So the things that's in the building, your inventory, your products, your ingredients. And please remember this, when it comes down to insurance paying out, when it comes down to your content that's inside of the building, they do not pay you retail price. Okay, so if your body butters is, let's just say $20, but the retail price, but the wholesale and the making price of the ingredients is $8, it's going to be $8, and then minus that, you may not even get the full $8. So I want you to keep that in mind when you putting things in your building. You want to make sure that you properly account for your overhead. So I would highly suggest going in with at least 6 months to 12 months of overhead income put aside for emergencies, for slow months, so that way you're not stressed and pressed behind making bills, or if something come up, you're not overwhelmed with it. Okay, location is everything. And you may say, look, I'm gonna get something on a high traffic area where there is cars coming by all day. That does not matter. That does not matter, because you could have people passing by all day, and that's exactly what they would do, is pass by your business all day long. So when it comes down to picking location, I want to be honest, go out there and talk to business owners that already have businesses in that location. And if there is a certain building you looking at, if you're able to reach out to the previous business owner, ask them like, how did you like this location? What made you leave? You know, they may or may not answer, but it would not hurt to try. Because I had three different locations. I had my first location before Hurricane Ida hit it. And then my second location, which was a temporary location, I was inside of a suite. And a third location, which was the one I closed down last April, that was on a high traffic area. And I realized I thought I would have did so well compared to my first location, because my first location was in Kenner, so it's near the airport. It's kind of like community neighborhood driven, and it was far back on the street. I'm thinking I'm gonna be in New Orleans, uptown, closer to more of my customers. I'm thinking, okay, if I did so well in Kenner, I know I should be able to hit my 7 figures easily uptown. That's just given because of the location, right? That don't have anything to do with it. What I realized after going through that, I realized the Kenner location was great because not only was it just me in the strip that I was in, but it was 15 other business owners. They were selling hair. It was a hair salon. It was a candle shop. It was a barber. It was boutique shops. So not only did I get that traffic from people just passing by, but I also got that foot traffic from other businesses. And one thing I could say, is that group of people, we to like tell other people about each other businesses, and I really love that. It was like no issues over there. It was no problems when it came down to that area, that our customers used to support other businesses when they came to visit. So please keep that in mind, because there are a lot of cars coming in the area. That does not mean traffic will come in that area. And you can also even negotiate, especially right now with builders not really leasing as fast and a lot of people moving out. I will go talk to a landlord and see if you could do a pop-up. Maybe do like a 30-day, 60-day, 90-day, or 6-month pop-up, and just let them know what you're doing. And that could be part of your research. And if your customers will tell you like, oh girl, I don't like driving around here, and then in the area in Kenner, like police was real bad, they always would pull you over for tent and all that foolishness. So it was a lot of people that didn't feel comfortable coming to Kenner, and you want to take all those things into consideration when it comes down to your customers. Because if they don't feel comfortable, if it's a lot of crime in the area or near it, or if the police is lurking and, you know, harassing people, people may not come and support you, and you don't want that. Okay, so keep that in mind. Location. Okay, marketing is everything. And I opened up the doors in an area that I grew up in. So when I moved back down here from Atlanta, I moved back to New Orleans, and I moved in a city I grew up in. And you would think that as soon as you open up those doors, people gonna come run you down because they know you, because they grew up with you, because they're your cousins, because they work with your parents. Absolutely not. Now, I'm not saying that people didn't support me, because I must say a lot of people did actually support me from the city where I'm from and people I went to school with. But you cannot expect these people to pay your bills. Okay, please do not expect the world or the whole city to come out, even if you have influence. And I found this even doing marketing for other influencers and celebrities, you would think certain people that have like a high following, that they people may follow them. It may not always be the case, and you do not want to rely on that. So this is why you want to start creating a buzz beforehand. And this is something I didn't do beforehand. I did not create a buzz. I will post here and there, but I was just so focused on getting a building, knocking down walls, rewiring. It was so much that was going on top of, I really didn't understand what type of business I was starting. And you could go watch episode 1 when I discussed that. So it was so much going on to where marketing was far from my mind. I was trying to hurry up and get this building open. That way I can make money. But how can I hurry up and get a building open and make money if I don't even have a marketing plan to bring people in? So you want to obviously have a buzz around social media. You want to show behind the scenes of what's coming soon, even if you don't want to say exactly what, or maybe you have like a new product that's coming out and you don't want them to know. Create a email list, create a text list. That way you could keep the people engaged. But don't just collect this information and do not say anything. I don't care if it's just like every week you just say, are y'all excited? What are you looking for? You could share the journey, like, oh my God, I got this location. This is why I chose this location. This is why this product or service is coming soon. You want to make sure you're communicating and creating that buzz, because that was something I did differently when I opened up my Uptown location. I was sharing the process. I was sharing, when I got my keys from the realtor, I was sharing, the work inside, the new products that's coming. And guess what? I had a line out the door from my Uptown location. The first location, I didn't invite nobody in. I just wanted family. I really wanted people just to come out and pray with me, because I was dealing with so much anxiety that I never dealt before opening up this business. But the second location was different. So I did have that marketing plan. I did, show behind the scenes every single day prior to opening up. So that's one thing you want to have, is your marketing plan in place. Hiring and staffing for your location is not as easy as you think. First of all, I don't know, after 2020, many people don't even want to work. And I realized this just with helping my clients and helping them the interview process. A lot of people do not want to work. A lot of people are not showing up for interviews. A lot of people is not showing up for work, and they expecting to get paid millions of dollars. And I understand, because of this economy, so some people can't afford to get paid $13-14 an hour to work at certain businesses. But if you don't have the revenue yet, what can you do? So this is something that you really need to take into consideration when you having staffing issues. I must say, I truly was blessed again in this area, because I had my niece, and then sometimes when my cousin was in college, she would come help me and assist me. And then but I did want to hire outside of them, but I never was able to hire inside of them, because you have to read the room. It was a few people that came in, then they come in, then they realize, oh, I want to start this business. Oh, I'm going to start a business like this. Or, I could see them like snooping for information because they want to copy and steal ingredients. So you have to be mindful. I'm not fearful of that, because I truly believe nobody can take what's mine, but you also want to protect what's yours and read the room, and don't make excuses for people, and ask God for the power of discernment, because baby, it will be in place. And be honest with people. Be honest about people pay. Do not create promises that you cannot back up. So you need to write down a list of staffing that you're going to need to properly run your business. Because one of the things that hurt me for a staffing goal, by my niece being like the manager and the head person running my location, take for example, when my dad passed, of course she grieved. That was just like a dad to her. So she grieving with me. How can I expect her to go ahead if I'm out the country trying to reset for 3 weeks? She needs to reset too. So that's like another issue when it's like hiring family and only having family involved in a business. I would say be very mindful of that. And also just have like a grieving past. Like, what would happen if emergency come? What would happen if that person gets sick, or their child gets sick, how would you handle that? So have a staffing plan, have an emergency plan for you and your team as well. If I had to do it all over again, honestly, this would be the top one. I would have an exit plan. I would have an exit plan before I even sign that first lease. And your exit plan is like a just in case this happened. What happens when the sales drop? And then if the sales drop, you talking about like 30, 60, 90, 120 days, a whole year of the sales dropping. What happened when life shifts, when family member pass or a family member gets sick and you no longer could be in your business 24 hours and you only able to give a day or two a week? What happens after that? What happens when the economy change? And so I think it's very key, because I don't hear many people talking about having an exit plan, but that exit plan could be life changing. So part of that exit plan is obviously having like a strong online presence. You always want to make sure you're available online. Like no matter what happened in my life, we always had our website running, even during a hurricane, because we could see what's going on in New Orleans, but somebody in New York, they might see it on the news, because like for Hurricane Ida, people didn't realize how bad it was because they didn't put it on the news like Hurricane Katrina. And I don't think people realize how many businesses and lives were affected by Hurricane Ida, and still to this day in 2025 from this storm, okay? And so you cannot expect your customers out of town to understand. They just want their products. Now, trust me, they want you to get well, they want you to feel better, but at the end of the day, they just want their products. So what is the exit plan for emergency? And prior to the storm happening, I just so happened had just got a storage because I was ready to scale. So I was doing like this big old not lunch, but I was just doing like this big old drop and preparing for Black Friday at the end of July. And I wanted to have like the biggest Black Friday yet. But having this storage of ingredients and products really helped me get over the storm. Okay, so where I lost everything at, I still was able to fulfill some orders, because who want to refund money that's probably was already spent anyway and now you really need it? So you want to make sure you have some type of exit plan for your business. If you need to shut down that door, what does that look like? What will be your, okay, this is it. Even with your lease changing, okay, because sometimes these landlords, they have issues too, especially right now with everyone going through it with their insurance and taxes. I know here in New Orleans, I'm sure in many other cities, a lot of these landlords are really paying way more than they expected. So we have to eat up that cost when we lease these locations. So you want to keep that in mind. If my landlord just, randomly, or if my lease, because I heard that some people haven't even been doing 2-3 year lease. They just been doing a 1 year lease and revisiting it. So if you do a year lease and then your landlord say, I need to go up $400, what does that look like? If you having problems with the light bill company and the price just keep going on, what does that look like when nobody want to do anything? When you have a $300 and $400 water bill, what does that look like? Because it could very well happen. So have that exit plan, because you don't want to be blindsided, even though you may get caught off guard, but you want to still have that plan, so that way you could exit and still keep your business if that's what you desire. So I really truly hope my mistakes will help you make more money than I did. I really hope my mistakes help you save and invest your money properly. I really hope these mistakes help you create the dream storefront you truly desire to bring to life. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. Let me know if you're ready to start a storefront, if you started a storefront, or any type of questions or concerns you may have. Meet me in the comments. Have a blessed one.